Our next story is one of those stories where you kind of wonder, yeah, AI sounds great, can do so many different things. And then you read something like this and think, wait a sec. You have reason to be wary and suspicious, certainly when it comes to something. I never would have thought that this would be something you'd have to worry about, right? You want to go somewhere, you want to buy a travel guide, you go online, you whatever, you check it out, you read a review, boom, you buy it. But there are some people and some companies that have been doing this for a long, long time. Rick Steves, who's a travel writer, reviewer for many, many years, turns out someone stole half his name and is selling the book as Mike Steves. And if you're not paying really good attention, you're thinking, well, I've heard that name before. And this one by Mike Steves is
It's
less
cheaper.
expensive than the one by Rick Steves, so I'll buy it. Well, it turns out it's AI generated, which in and of itself is perhaps not a bad thing. But then you find out that necessarily the stuff in it is not even accurate. So what do you do in a case like this? Seth Kugel is a travel columnist with the New York Times, an author of Rediscovering Travel, a guide for the globally curious. And Seth is on the line. Thanks for being here this afternoon.
Hey, no problem. Happy to be here.
Did I describe this right in terms of, I saw the image that went with the piece for all these travel guides that unless you actually paid attention, you think were legit?
Sure. I just add one more very important piece, which is one of the reasons these guides sell as well as they do is because presumably whoever is writing them, quote unquote writing them, is also paying for fake reviews on Amazon that allow, these books to have, 4.8 stars average. Because there's also a number of reviews from people who have already bought them, which literally say, this book is written by AI, don't buy it. But they can get buried, especially when people just look at the average number of stars. So that's a real key piece to it.
How is this even legal? How is it being tolerated? How is this happening?
Well, I don't know that it's illegal to write a book using artificial intelligence and sell it, at least in the United States. It's pretty. Those freedom of speech laws can be pretty liberal. So, yes, I don't think it's illegal. Now, is there something illegal about printing something that is not true? I mean, maybe the fact that Mike Steves is impersonating someone else, but you have a million books out there written by people using pen names. So
True.
I'm not sure it's illegal. It's just a little bit immoral.
So how would you even know? I said, a lot of times you make a really good point. I'm glad you brought that part up about the fake reviews, which you can buy, which is amazing to begin with.
That should not be allowed.
I know. But the thing is, you read those, you make a decision based on them. I mean, how much time would you have to spend looking into a book? Because sometimes they'll offer a few pages up for you to read until you realize that it's basically a ripoff.
Oh, you don't have to spend very long looking at the pages of the book they let you read. It's quite obvious. I mean, especially if you're a seasoned traveler and have read the Rick Steves books or one of the other big brands, you know right away, if you look at those pages, that this is not a real travel guide. So that's pretty easy. Now, I should say that the fake reviews, again, I'm only speaking about the United States, but the fake reviews are definitely not allowed by Amazon. They do a lot of work to take those reviews off. And in fact, over the course of time that we were looking at these books, hundreds of reviews were removed, but of course, other ones, it's a whack-a-mole kind of a game. Like some reviews disappear, new ones appear. So it's not like Amazon is sitting around doing nothing about getting rid of fake reviews. God, who knows what algorithms they have out there looking for them? I know they spend a lot of money doing that. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission of the United States, however, is going to pronounce sometime soon, going to create new rules about fake reviews, and it's almost surely going to be illegal in the United States. I don't know what you guys have up there in terms of laws on fake reviews.
I don't know either, actually.
I'd heard nothing about anything like this. And just to get back to what you said, you could tell fairly quickly as a seasoned traveler. What if you're not a seasoned traveler, right? You want to book a vacation. I don't know. You want to go to Spain. You look at the cover. It looks like it's the same book. How would you know?
Yeah. So, you could compare the first page of this book with any other book, but there's another way that really works well, which is to read the one-star reviews. So on Amazon, if you look at the reviews, you can click on 1 star and you read all the terrible reviews. This is actually a good thing to do with any product.
You're right.
But especially with these, because you'll see something like, oh, this book is a joke. Where did all these 5-star reviews come from? It's obviously written by AI. There'll be things like that. So that'd be my number one piece of advice. Go to the 1-star reviews.
I think that's excellent
It is good
advice.
advice.
And like you said, it can extend beyond that. I'm thinking, we're talking about looking for the first couple of pages, but as you point out in the article in the New York Times, sometimes the titles have errors in them. They're not grammatically correct. They're missing words. So I guess that'd be a pretty good tip that it wasn't written by a human.
Yeah, that's not that common. We did find a few like that, and then inside the books we found a few mistakes, like factual mistakes. But to be honest, they're made on purpose to look like regular travel books. The one thing you will see on the inside is if you look at enough of them, you'll recognize the font, and that is usually used by Kindle Direct Publishing, which is Amazon's self-publishing arm. And that's not to say that a self-published book is bad. In fact, my mother wrote one, and it's great. But it is you at least figuring out that it's self-published. If you begin to sort of recognize that format, it looks kind of like a term paper rather than a book you'd see in the bookstore. That should also be at least an initial red flag.
So, given that it's not necessarily illegal, and I think that's probably the best advice, don't read the good reviews. Go to the bottom, read the 1-star reviews, because obviously there are people aware of what's going on. What other tips might you have for someone who wants to buy one of these guidebooks?
Well, first of all, I should say the good reviews, if you actually read them, are also pretty obviously fake. A lot of times they don't make much sense. They sort of talk in circles. So that's one thing. The other thing is I'd say just go with the trusted brands. It's pretty obvious. There's a lot of them out there. The basic ones are Lonely Planet and Frommer's and Fodor's. Rick Steves, DK Eyewitness is another brand. Moon Guides. The other thing you can do, and quite honestly, it's probably the best thing you can do, is if you can, go to a bookstore. These books are not for sale in bookstores. The AI guides.
Right.
They're going to be vetted. They would never be sold there. In fact, even if you could get them as an ebook, of course, on Kindle, but you can also get them when they're printed to order by an Amazon facility. So they're not the kind of books that you're going to see in bookstores.
Okay.
If you can get to a bookstore, do it that way. If you can't, read those reviews really carefully and go with a known brand.
Okay. There's some
I
good
think
tips
that is
for you.
excellent advice. Yeah. I'm still personally, I want the book that I can hold on to, and I want it to be from a name that I know and trust and that does the regular updates and such. And I'm still old fashioned that way. And maybe this is a sign that we should perhaps start to be a little bit more old fashioned.
Well, I mean, the travel guidebooks are sort of unique. If I'm reading a novel, I don't really care that much whether it's a physical book or on an ebook. But the travel guide, you want to carry around with you. You want to have it with you. It has like the local police numbers. It has all kinds of different phrase books. And, you don't want to be getting out your Kindle or your phone and looking through it, especially if you run out of batteries or don't have a signal or something like that.
Yeah.
Having that guidebook with you is a real safety issue as well as just a convenience when you're traveling.
So we're out of time. I'm just wondering, when you look to buy a travel guide, so you know all the names, you're obviously a seasoned traveler. Have you heard from people since you wrote this saying, wow, thanks for doing this? Like, this is the kind of book I bought and I was completely, disappointed when I got it?
I haven't heard from anyone directly who said, I bought one of these books. I have heard from a lot of people who are shocked by this article.
As we are. Hey, listen, thank you so much, Seth. We appreciate the time.
All right, my pleasure.
Seth Kugel, New York Times, author and
go.
travel columnist. Look, you got to be so careful.
Here
If you
we
look at the
go.
page, they all look the same. They steal a photo. The photos are all the same. Please pay attention.
I don't know
You're wasting your
how
money.
we are going to function going forward. Like, hey, someone's going to send you a picture of your husband having an affair with someone, and it's going to look so real you won't be able to tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think AI is going to mess us up.
You have a picture like that?
I do not have a picture.